Tiny Epic Defenders. After the Great War, known as Tiny Epic Kingdoms, many of the factions, shattered and defeated, looked for something to cling to. One final hope before the last of their race would flow like the river into the ocean of history, gone and forgotten. It was the sages of the Order of Gamelin who answered their prayers. They provided a new perspective on unity and a way of life that would welcome peaceful members of any faction, a utopia for all. With very few options and a will to survive, this world alliance became an inevitable truth in the eyes of many of the faction's leaders. Even factions who hated one another had nothing left but each other. Under the guidance of the Order, a capital city was chosen, and factions from all over the world came to call this city their new home. At last, the world was at peace, but not for long. A great storm is coming, and in the darkness of the mist, there be demons. In this game, players work together to defend the capital city and defeat the epic foe. All players win or lose collectively. The game ends when either the capital city falls, in which the players lose, or the epic foe is defeated, in which the players win. Give each player a hero card, selected or randomly drawn, along with a meeple and a health token in their choice of color. Place the remaining hero cards, meeples, and health tokens back in the box. Each player should place their health token onto their hero card, giving themselves full health, the highest number on the track. Shuffle the artifact cards and place the stack face down within reach. Place the capital city card in the middle of the table, and then place the player meeples in the capital city. Place the 6 outer region cards around the capital city. These may be in any order, but must form a circle within the capital city being the center. The capital city should be oriented so the 2 short sides point towards only 2 cards, as seen here. Players choose which side of each region to use. For hard and epic difficulties, the outer regions must be set up randomly. Place a threat token on each outer region and the capital city. The threat level should start at 0 for the capital city and at 1 for each of the outer regions. Shuffle the epic foe cards and place one face down on the table. Put the other ones back in the box. Shuffle the 9 enemy cards and place them into 3 piles face down. One pile will become the turn deck, and you will add ally cards equal to the number of players. You may or may not add group ally cards depending on the number of players. Another pile will become the horde deck. You shuffle the dire enemy cards and add 1 to 4 of them depending on the difficulty you are playing at. The final pile of enemy cards and all other cards not used in the game will form the destruction deck, which is used to track any regions that are destroyed. Shuffle the turn deck and place it within easy reach. Shuffle the horde deck and place it on top of the epic foe card. The game is played in a series of rounds. In a round, cards are drawn and resolved from the turn deck until it is depleted. More enemies are then added from the horde deck. The turn deck is reshuffled and a new round begins. After the horde deck runs out, the epic foe comes into play. The game continues until either the capital city falls or the epic foe is defeated. Cards are drawn and resolved from the turn deck one at a time and then added to a discard pile. Players are not allowed to look through the discard pile. A card is resolved according to its type. If an enemy or dire enemy card is drawn, it will increase the threat level of each region it attacks. This is done by moving the threat token up the track on the region card. If the threat token reaches the last space, noted with a fire symbol, that region is destroyed. When a destroyed region is attacked, the threat level rises in the capital city instead. To show that a region is destroyed, place a card from the destruction deck face down on top of it, covering the ability text. Once a region is destroyed, its ability cannot be used. However, players may still move to and defend destroyed regions. If a region is destroyed when a player is on it, they stay in that region. In the event that the capital city is destroyed, the game ends immediately and all players lose. If one or more players are in the region that the enemy is attacking, they can defend the region. To do so, a player may sacrifice health points, 1 for an enemy, 2 for a dire enemy, to prevent the threat to the region from increasing. Each enemy attack can be defended, and players may end up defending multiple times in a single round. However, players cannot team up to defend a single dire enemy. When a player defends in a destroyed region, the capital city is defended instead. A player in the capital city region itself may not defend it, as they are considered to be within the city's walls and not on the battlefield. Dire enemies are handled a little differently than regular enemies. They possess powerful abilities that can have devastating effects. Defending a dire enemy will protect the region and negate the dire enemy's ability unless otherwise stated on its card. Also, if a player does defend against a dire enemy, they are awarded an artifact. They draw an artifact card from the deck and place it face up in front of them. Players cannot defend with 0 health unless assisted by an artifact or ability. Ally cards and group ally cards allow players to perform actions. Some of these actions require action points, which are granted by the card. When an ally card is drawn, it is now the turn of the player identified on the card. That player gets 3 action points. When a group ally card is drawn, 3 action points are divided among the players however they choose. If there are any destroyed regions when the card is drawn, an additional action point is granted. Each player that takes at least 1 of the action points will get a turn. The turn order is decided by the group. A player must take all of their actions consecutively. For example, if one player is going to take 2 of the 3 actions, that player must use them both consecutively. When a player uses 3 or more action points in a turn, the player may choose to sacrifice 1 health point from their hero to gain an extra action point. This extra action must be taken immediately. Artifacts are powerful single-use items that help players progress through the game. The benefits of an artifact only apply to the player who drew the artifact. Once an artifact has been used, it is removed from the game. There are 2 types of artifacts: action and free action. Action artifacts cost 1 action point to use and must be used on the player's turn. Free action artifacts can be used off turn and do not cost an action point. Players may take the following actions in any order and any number of times as long as they have enough action points to do so. The only exception is using a region's ability. Each region's ability can only be used once per ally or group ally card. Move. A player may move to an adjacent region for 1 action point. Note that the capital city is only adjacent to 2 regions, those connected by the short sides of the capital city card. Succor. In the region the player is in, you can decrease the threat level by 1 for 1 action point. Note, you cannot decrease the threat level in the capital city. Threat in the capital city is permanent. Players cannot succor with 0 health unless assisted by an artifact or ability. Fight. If the player is in the region that the epic foe is in, after the epic foe has entered the game, they may damage it by fighting. For 1 action point, reduce its health by 1. Please note the ability of the epic foe, as some may have special rules regarding damage. Players cannot fight with 0 health unless assisted by an artifact or ability. Use the region's ability. Each region has a special ability. Follow the instructions on that region card to use its ability. This can only be used if the player is in that region and only once per ally or group ally card. If the region's ability is passive, it does not cost an action point. Use a hero's ability. Each hero card has a special ability that only that player can use. The ability and its requirements are listed on the card. If the hero's ability is passive, it does not cost an action point. Use an artifact. Use an action or free action artifact that is in front of the player, then remove it from the game. If a player is at 0 health, they are not eliminated, but may not defend a region, succor, or fight unless assisted by an artifact or ability. Players can replenish their health by using the ability of the capital city. Once the turn deck is depleted, one of two things happen. If there are cards left in the horde deck, turn the discard pile of the turn deck face down. Place a card from the horde deck into the turn deck. Then shuffle the turn deck. A new round begins. If there are no cards left in the horde deck, reshuffle the turn deck, then flip over the epic foe. The epic foe will have a region noted on it. Place it just outside of that region. The epic foe will remain there until defeated unless otherwise noted on its card. When the epic foe first comes into play, place its health token at full health. Track damage dealt to the epic foe by moving the health token down the track. After the epic foe is added, the turn deck is simply reshuffled for further rounds. Once the epic foe is reduced to 0 health, it is defeated and the players win. Players win the game if they defeat the epic foe. Players lose the game if the capital city is destroyed.